The big thing is that there are no real news events other than the question of how much Spain needs for its banks, and they've already said $100 billion is on the table. So unless they need to go over that, you don't have a major risk factor. But the Germans are already out in force today, walking back euphoria over this agreement, saying no, there is conditionality on any of these loans. Now, you were always able to have the ESM, the rescue fund, buy sovereign bonds. It just has to be approved by the individual states. Germany making it clear, well, maybe we won't. We're going to have to talk about that. So it's not as simple a victory for everybody as people think.
We try to cover it all here. I found it remarkable. The PRI returns in Mexico. This is the legendary party for decades. What does that signify?
70 years in power, and then they were kicked out 12 years ago. It's an interesting situation because they were widely regarded as corrupt, and although they did some modernizing of the economy, brought it down tremendously and opened the way for the opposition party victory for the first time. And now people are kind of tired of that opposition party. You can see GDP has been very strong there, but poverty has increased tremendously. Recent study showed 50% of Mexicans live in poverty. The Gini coefficient, you love that, 51.6, one of the worst in the world. Income inequality, tremendous there. And yet, it's been an investor darling for the past year. The stock market there up 13%.
The peso.
And I brought pesos for Sarah. The Mexican peso up 6.5% against the dollar.
Last week was the week of the McKee drachma. You spent those this week at Nordstrom, right?
The world's best performing currency this year is the Mexican peso. Thank you very much. I have a can and I have a peso. I'll put the peso in the can.
You have 20 pesos.
World's best performing major currency.
What's the biggest stereotype we have wrong about Mexico?
That Mexico is a unified country. I mean, the country is very balkanized. The southern half of the nation is very, very poor. And that's why you've seen some of the independence movements down there. They had a problem for many years. And then they're in the midst of this terrible drug war. And you've seen poverty rates increase along the border as well. So the center of the country is doing well. The other thing that we should point out is that a lot of people have relied in Mexico on oil revenue for a long time. Well, oil prices rose. That helped the GDP rise, but now it's starting to fall back again with oil prices. So, yeah, they have some serious problems there, and it's interesting that investors find it such an interesting place.